This is your daily market recap for Wednesday, November 15th, 2023. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your daily market review for Wednesday, November 15th, 2023. Hopefully you're having an amazing day, amazing week, amazing month, amazing year. Let's dig into it. So we knew the CPI data was manufactured. If you go dig deep into it, they said healthcare costs were down 34% year over year, which is not true. I know multiple people enrolling for health insurance, and it is not down. So we know the CPI was a little funky, but here's the thing. The PPI came out today. Retail sales came out all a little soft. PPI, we noticed that businesses are not able to pass on higher prices. Sales have dropped. Inventories are beginning to rise. Well, again, we still expect a recession next year, but what does that mean about the market? Well, again, to me, this tells me that the market action is not healthy. The straight line up move, very dangerous, showing of what? Short covering, panic buying, out of position bears, even guys like us who were short had a cover and being maybe a little squeaked out here at the highs. All possible, all things you learn from trading. Again, if you think that you're going to be right and nail every entry at the right point, at the right price all the time, you, my friend, are delusional. So again, that happens probably 1 out of 3 times. So how to trade around the entries, how to have stops, define your risk, be intelligent emotionally so that you can admit to yourself at times, hey, you might not get in where you think you need to. Or, sorry, you get in where you think you need to and you can be wrong. So you define your risk, you have stops, you're very aware of your surroundings. So let's get into it. If you're new to the channel, Discord room, link in the description below. This is really interesting because an unprecedented $8.2 trillion of U.S. debt will be maturing in the next 12 months, or a third of total treasury outstanding. We got problems. That's why I think Xi's in town. I'm about 99% sure that Yellen is begging them to buy our debt, trying to cooperate, yada, yada, yada. Be careful out there. And that's why I said watch the bond market today, because if the bond market started selling, and it seems like they've got a budget deal potentially coming through. So, yeah, G, that's passed. You got the CPI, PPI, budget deal. Everything's good. Buy the rumor, sell the news. It's OPEX, CHOPEX, TOPEX. Remember, we talked about tops during OPEX too, so keep an eye on it. Maybe the next 2 days, either it's just a monster pullback, or it could be the beginning of a huge downdraft. And a lot of people are like, huge downdraft? I'm like, think about it. You wiped out all the bears. Bears are now giving up. Like, they've now seen multiple rallies off the bottom, chopping. And the bulls just think that everything's fine. We'll see what happens. Again, YouTube channel, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do live chats multiple days a week. You new to the channel, thetradingagent.com, check it out. Also, too, you can subscribe to MailChimp. I can send out a few things here and there. Markets account 5.4%. Use the promotion code to get it. You got to be getting those. You got to be getting that higher interest rate. You got to get your money out of those crappy savings accounts that are paying nothing. Also, too, if you need to get out of your brokerage swap, Interactive Brokers is the place to go, in my opinion. You potentially can get up to $1,000 worth of stock as a referral bonus. Sweet. All right, let's get into it. Fed Watch tool. I mean, we talked about this. They're expecting now 3 rate cuts next year. 3. We're not at the pivot yet, but here you go. May is this, I think, the first one with a, May is the first one. And then they come up, follow the rest of the year. Keep an eye on that stuff. Bitcoin. Rally back to the highs. I'm watching that. Oil, we talked about oversold. Rally needs to get over 79. Demand destruction, gasoline destruction, gasoline demand today. Some of the data came out bad. What's that show you about the economy, right? Like, I try to warn people like that. It's not good. Gasoline demand's falling off a cliff. Does that mean everyone's happy and great and everything's great? I mean, we're seeing it in housing, commercial real estate. You're seeing it in retail. You're seeing it in so many different places. Yet the market does what? Gets the most amount of people wrong in the most amount of time. The dollar. We said, watch this choppy range. Broke down. Better hold this channel here. I mean, if you go zoom back, it's a major player. Whole channel. Now, is it as important as it used to be? No, not really, but I'd be watching this blue box here in the 29 level. We've talked about it. I don't really have a preference about dollar action, but I do acknowledge dollar volatility leads to market volatility. TLT. We said, watch this trap up here, because, again, I don't trust that if the feds have to sell trillions of dollars of debt and the 30-year and 20-year treasury auctions are failing, the TLT, I don't know if it's going to hold up. I think it'd be choppy. Now, again, does it make new lows? I don't know. But a lot of people got excited about it and they think it's breaking out. We'll see. I mean, the only way this is going to, in my mind, go higher is if the market absolutely unloads. That's my opinion. A lot of people will be like, oh, I don't know about that. And it's like, okay, well, if it doesn't, I think interest rates will chop. And at worst, the debt becomes an issue because where the money, there has to be money to buy treasuries. I try to explain, like, where do you think it's going to come? Hopefully, not hopefully, but more likely from the stock market. Like people, they're going to try to get people scared into treasuries. People don't understand that. That's why treasuries did amazing in 2009. Amazing. Because everybody who left the market went what? Jumping into treasuries. Could you see that effect again? The VIX, very, very friendly location down here to start looking for shorts. VIX starting to build a base, holding, very friendly action. SPY, who knows where the hell the high was, but it filled the gap, and then we doji today. I mean, we talk about huge gaps at inflection points. That's a big damn gap. Keep an eye on it. Novice gap, and it could take a couple days. QQQ, same kind of thing. Big mofo gap, fills gaps. Keep an eye on it up here. IWM, the most amount of calls in history are bought on the IWM today. That is exactly what you want to see at a top. All the calls, all in. Everybody all in the IWM. Look at that sucker. Big ass doji. Novice gap trap. Keep an eye on it. DIA. Back up into the range highs. Keep an eye on it. When you zoom out, you go, things have been a choppy, sloppy mess all year. Gold. Now, again, we love gold long term when the Feds pivot. We're not there yet. But could we be wrong? Could something happen? Of course. I'm not saying short it, but I'd be looking for dips. I don't trust it holding up. Good old silver. Silverton. This thing should be up in the 23s. Nice little 3-day rally. Got to get over the 21s. Mid-21s. We'll see. GDX, we talked about miners lagging hard. They got a nice bounce. But man, not much follow through. You would think they'd be ripping higher if gold's going higher. They're not. They're showing you something. Again, miners get absolutely blasted when the market gets crushed. Not until the Feds pivot. Not until the Feds pivot. Again, if that's the only thing you remember in this video, that's what you got to remember. Newmont, I don't even want to show it. Like, look at this. I mean, this might make sense long-term to buy down here, but it could be a choppy, sloppy mess. I mean, it's just, I personally think, man, something that there's a big anomaly down here, but this thing could get back to 16 or 20. There's no doubt in my mind. PAAS, they absolutely destroy the miners. Because again, if there's a credit crunch, these guys run off of credit. Absolutely. Same thing with PAAS. Leave it alone. All right, let's get into tech because this is where it starts to get interesting. Taiwan Semi, right? You better keep an eye on these candles. Better keep an eye on that because that looks like a little bit of a topping action candle. This one typically has these, like it outsides. It doesn't outside reverse, but it outside and partially engulfs. Keep an eye on it. Micron, been on fire. Hammer. We thought maybe this is the top. Nope. Another gap. Look at these gaps. 3-gap trap, right? I mean, I don't know. 1, 2, 3. I know you might say 4, but these are all like very similar size. Keep that in mind. AMD announces something with Microsoft. Makes a lower high engulfs. That looks bearish. NVIDIA, you'd think this thing would be up at 500 plus. It got there, came back, gave it all back. Intellectual property holding up. I think there was a few brokerage or hedge funds that bought it today. Good for them. I mean, I imagine they bought it somewhere in the, I don't know, 30s. Cool. We'll see what happens. Again, I have some shorts on this one. I'll be curious if this one doesn't follow through with all of them at some point. SMH, retest the high, makes new highs. Interesting action. Again, I mean, this is where it's hard. I mean, I wish I could tell people with certainty. Like, if you're looking for certainty, don't trade. Don't trade. That's all I can tell you. Adobe, that's interesting. That looks like a potential novice gap trap engulfing down. Apple, how high does it go? I don't know, but you're getting a lot of sticky action up here. Doji, double doji, keeping on. It looks painful. Amazon, some institutions and hedge funds were dumping it. Especially, I think Buffett sold all of his open, high, closed, low. That might be the prime short. I mean, put that in your pocket and think about that. Because if he's dumping all of it, what happened after Taiwan Semi? He got absolutely destroyed. I don't know why I'm changing my accent. CRM said this one's a little tougher, broke the trend. I'd be watching this the 220 level plus. Google, a lot of institutions were buying it in the hedge fund E13Fs. Again, interesting, double doji. Meta, every reason to be up more. getting a little tired. Microsoft, I read today where 99% of institutions in the, I think the country, maybe it's just a US stat, own Magnificent 7, up from the high of 78% last year. Just so you know how many, literally every institution and ETF hedge fund in some point owns a tech stock of the Magnificent 7. If that's not all in, I don't know what else is. 99%. I got to find it. It's on Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, you can see the post. Double top, double dragon. Getting a little tired. Microsoft, NDAQ said, wait for this channel. I love it. Short that son of a bitch. I love it up here. Tight stops. Again, I don't know anything for certain, but it looks good. MicroStrategy, getting choppy. Said this probably is the top, but choppy top because the market's holding up, right? Netflix went a little higher. Okay, keep an eye on it. I mean, are we going to fill that gap? That always has to be in the back of your mind, but Netflix has a very high tendency of big green candles peaking with the following day. So keep that in mind. I was looking at that. Even if it's just a pullback, it tends to have a large green followed by indecision, then pullback. Roblox, chop it around. Man, you can't like that. Double top potentially. Tesla, now that Buffett sold all of his GM, people are going, like, that's the rumor flying around that he's going to buy Tesla stock. Unreal. Again, if you shorted down, we talk about don't do it. Be careful. Now you're in some levels that make sense. Watch these 240s. Watch the 240s. All right, let's get into some of the materials and all the fun other names. Costco, watch out. You got Target's earnings, but Walmart tomorrow. Baba, interesting. Again, like this is not, I mean, this is very stretchy. Like you're pulling too fast. FedEx said watch the 100-day, 50-day. I mean, look at the wick here. I mean, you can't predict this stuff when you blow out. And that's what's so hard is that you have to have define your risk and have stops. But sometimes they blow them out and then it comes right back because that's what you call a bull trap, bear trap, right? Caterpillar, love it up here. Love it in this 250. Nucor, we talked about the mid 150s. Look at this. This is where you want to be shorting with stops. VALE, not really. Again, this, I don't really wouldn't short VALE, but it's holding up pretty well. Arrow, we talked about copper looking like crap. That Dr. Copper looking pretty sick. CCJ, we said keep an eye on yesterday's doji. I mean, it's been on fire. CF, we like ag, but we like it on pullbacks long term. 60 level Mosaic, I'd love to see this thing down in like the, I don't know, 30 area. We talked about these due to pop, so at least I'll give myself credit. I thought they would pop at some point, but I don't trust them. AA, same kind of thing, chopping around. Let's get into financials. This is where it gets a little squeezy, right? Filling gaps. Getting into resistance. I mean, I don't have it drawn, but it's very clear to me that there's resistance in, I don't know, this range. Didn't think we'd get this high again. Got to admit it. Looks interesting. JP Morgan, 150. You got to be kidding me. Like today, like absolute gift. Took a little more shorty on that. Morgan Stanley popping. All right. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with IW and Pop, some of these banks. But remember, who holds all the problems? Again, when you look at the 13Fs, nobody was buying financials. Nobody. Says a lot. Everyone knows. And they're holding all of this junk treasury debt that's worthless. Just keep that in mind. Bank of America, watch that trend line. It's coming potentially. Goldman, nothing today. That's okay. I mean, it was holding up pretty well. Carry, talked about the 45s. Shade 4.5, if you know Sirius XM. Buffett was actually buying Sirius, which is interesting. If anyone knows anything about that, it's very curious to me. Check that out. I mean, it looks interesting up here in the 45s. Sorry, talking quickly. Ding! XBI. Watch, look at this candle today, right? Channel high. Badoink. Badunkadunk. Solar, we talked about if the budget passed and how oversold they were, they could do to bounce. Everybody was talking about a buy. I'd be looking to short these things. You're getting pretty close. And now, again, I don't know how much downside they might be compared to some of the other names, but, I mean, these names were due to bounce. We talked about it. People are like, oh, you said short. I'm like, no. Not the low. I said due to bounce. Due to bounce. Get it right. Love for these to bounce. I don't know, maybe a little higher in First Solar. But again, I mean, are they the best shorts? I don't know. I mean, that's your choice. HYG, we talked about it, watching the channel, watching like the mid 74s. Sorry, not mid, but the upper 74s, maybe 75s. Today's action down, right? Oil, it's interesting, right? Like oil should be strong, right? Economy's great. Everybody's happy. Giving it back. UNG, leave it alone. Personally, don't really have a dog in that hunt. XOP, we've talked about if you own drip from the low 9s, you're feeling good. Not surprised. Look at that channel and 100-day. Tooch. Feel some gaps. Close enough. keep an eye on it. Now you have levels to watch, because if you retest 2-day range, multi-day range, gotta love it. Da 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 da. ExxonMobil, another like pop and flop. I mean, it looks like it's basing before a dump. MPC, same kind of thing. Nice. Go. They had their dividend today. I mean, you can't really see the wick, but it got up and they gave it back. Valero, same kind of thing. Popped, gave it back. Talked about these names at some point getting crushed. I mean, it's interesting here. If you look into the crystal ball, it's like, no, it looks like there's a little channel here of some sort. I don't know. You want to draw it like that. Little breakout, fake out. Keep an eye on it. We'll see. Again, all these names to me look juicy. Occidental. Buffett didn't add any last quarter. He's just selling covered calls in the Buffett sell zone. EQT popped today, which, again, not surprised. I mean, we talked about holding these levels, but it's very curious to see if we get over 44. Again, we're just watching for strength. I'm not shorting these. And last but not least, Flex LNG. Again, a name we'd like long-term, because I think we're going to be massive exporters of natural gas. So if you have any questions, please reach out. Again, I appreciate the love, support, the generous donations, advice. Again, I mean, it's a team game here. If you think you're going to nail this by yourself and you're absolutely going to do amazing and never lose, I need to sell you on snake oil. No, I'm just kidding. Like, that's how trading is. It's a probability game. You don't sit down at the poker table and go, every hand I'm involved in, I'm going to win. You can't sit down at the blackjack table, count cards, be amazing at it, and expect to win every time. It's the same thing in trading. So you have to have humility. So if you have any questions, please reach out. Again, if you're in the real estate market, oh my God, please do not be scared to help. Like, reach out. I'd love to get involved in it for you, because, again, there's a lot of things in real estate that I have experience with. Just it's so complicated yet so simple. If you're working with inexperienced agents, they're going to put you in a pickle. They're not going to give you the right insights. It's like asking your broker to give you investing advice versus somebody who's actually literally involved in the game. A lot of just your typical real estate agents, just they barely do enough deals to even pay the bills, and so they're not good at their job. And it's not all doctors are great, not all accountants are great, lawyers are great. It's the same thing. All right, talk to y'all later. Peace. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.